Welcome, Spiritual Mag. My name's Sam Bell. Yesterday, gentleman, Charles James Kirk, Charlie Kirk, was unlived on a live television. And today, people are processing what that means and the duality of the society and the confusion in the media and the plasticity of language and digital communications and mind control is on full tilt right now. So, all right, let's think about this. So, mind control. Well, there's a lot of ways to control people. The straightforward way is behavior modification, using positive and negative reinforcers. Money, food, shelter, needs being met, lack of money, lack of food, lack of shelter, lack of needs being met is constant. So all our behaviors, which are where you're physically at, what your muscles are doing over and over again, getting up, driving, eating, running around, doing this, that, typing, whatever, all your muscles are kind of like an automatic habit patterns. So behavior modification means you take a behavior and then you gradually modify it. So like this is a behavior. This is a behavior, somebody flips a bird. Both muscle things are attached to thought forms. So what's the cheapest way to mess with people's heads? You want to mess with stuff that gets into their head. And the way it gets into their head is through their eyes. They see it, it goes right in their head, goes right into their brain, and their ears. Goes in this way. Stereo, stereo. Binaural, binaural. Okay. Electrical, digital. And so the stimuli is going in, whether it's my face, hi, or it's Mr. Kirk, his last day, goes into your head, and then it's gone. But it's created a memory, including these sounds. If I say potato chips dipped in taco sauce, well, I just said a whole bunch of sounds that ended up with you having to remember those sounds and then try to attach those sounds to the memories of anything you got to do with taco chips and sauce. Okay? So it's not really happening at the time that it's happening. It's happening after it actually existed and you're processing the memories of it. So it's gone. So in mind control, that's the zone where you do your fuckery. Okay? Now, the basic way is you want to do something to the individual or group that is intermittent. You don't really know when it's going to happen. Okay, good or bad. You don't really know when it's going to happen, good or bad. You want it to be intermittent and you want it to be inconsistent. So you have intermittent and inconsistent. Why? Whoa, what, right? So you want it to be intermittent, inconsistent, and incredibly powerful when it goes in and gets near your brain. And once it gets in your brain, it creates a memory. Not like a little memory, but a memory. Example, those of you who were around on 9/11, can you remember where you were? Well, you can, huh? That was interesting. You can remember where you were. Can you remember where you were the day before 9/11? No. Those of you in the older age bracket, like myself, can remember when John F. Kennedy was assassinated. Oldies but goodies, can you remember where you were when JFK was shot in Dallas? You can, can't you? So there's two times something happened, you saw it, and it stayed in your mind. I mean, it really stayed in your mind. The trauma. When you're in the trauma, when that period where you're going, fuck, and the stuff goes in, it sticks to your head. Okay, it doesn't get erased because it's anchored in there with the spear of energy of pain or love. Okay? So, Bobby Kennedy, remember? Bobby Kennedy, they got the pictures, the whole thing's in the public, you know. Martin, MLK, yeah, the whole thing. So there you have four examples, four or five examples. I could go on, there's a lot more, where something occurred visually and it caused trauma, and that trauma was caused on purpose so that information could be inserted into your fucking brains while you're in the fucking trauma, and then you're walking around with it for the rest of your fucking life. Okay? How fast did they know Osama did the bombing? Osama probably even made the Building 7 fall down. I don't know how. But that was attached, right? Building came down, Osama. JFK gets shot. It's the dude with the rifle in the book depository. Now, it's all videoed, and then they pump it up. They pump it up. They pump it up. Every time you see it gets pumped up, it's pumped up. It's fucking pumped up. Now, it works two ways. So, for example, it's intermittent, inconsistent, and very powerful. Now, when Hillary was running for president and was leading the racist Donald Trump, there would be plenty of scenes of, you know, there'd be the Trump would go someplace and somebody would go, fuck Trump, and in the center, and get him out of here, you know, smash him, I want to hit him, you know, and then they drag him out and drag some guy out, and, you know, and they'd show Hillary, she'd have a nice pantsuit on, and she'd be smiling and waving, and she's so excited, and the people in the crowd are like, yeah. So you never really saw a live presidential election meeting, with Trump showing up and talking and doing the whole thing. You never saw one of those. The only one you ever saw, boys and girls, that was planned and scheduled was the one where he got that was set up to be a trauma. Okay, that was to be a trauma, and your mind would get all sucked into some stupid lie by some digital stuff that gets pumped and pumped and pumped and pumped, and you're going to hear it, and you're going to see it, and you're going to see it there and here and there and here and there and here and there. But it didn't happen. So the trauma occurred, but you ended up seeing Trump go, yeah, we're going to fight this. It backfired. Okay? So when you do a trauma incident, you have to make each one worse. Okay? It's got to be a bigger deal. So when people, relate to Trump, it's probably people who might have played golf or might actually have a retirement and live in a home. The people that look like Charlie Kirk, he was there with a white t-shirt with a little target on his shirt. Like Charlie Kirk, he he dropped out of college. Okay. How many people can relate to somebody dropping out of college? Nah, I didn't drop out, but I can relate to people that the last semester of speech pathology in the master's program for dual diagnosis, for dual certification, speech pathology and audiology, it was hell. You're so fucking sick of university. And I went to a great school, great teachers, great people, but you get burnt. So Charlie, a lot of people could relate to Charlie. Also, Charlie exhibited behaviors that were consistent with the teachings of Jesus, you know. Think about it. So the goal was to traumatize everybody, right? Traumatize everybody. And in that trauma, to redirect the focus on how terrible it is and all the people and this and that and this and that and this and that. And not focus on the bigger story. Okay, the bigger story that's out there right now is all the documentation and cover up and duplication that the deep state has been proven liable for treason. The real deal. The real deal. They kept everything, all the deep state stuff separate, but they were all working in public positions like Hillary, etc., you know, Barry, and the schmucks, right? And they each had a biometric security for these limited locations and documentations, and they thought it was secure. Whoa! They're so fucking stupid. Excuse my French. You know, the same thing happened with Nixon, with the Watergate, right? No, I was an instructor with Fargo Countermeasures, Sabre Laboratories, with Leo Jones. So the plumbers were sent by Nixon to Fargo Countermeasures to get the equipment and the training to break into the Watergate Hotel. And they went through the whole thing, got all the equipment, got it all together and all the training, and then they didn't pay. And they didn't take the equipment. And it really pissed off Leo. These idiots got caught putting tape on the lock. And there was all kinds of documentation of Nixon's shit. And that's why Nixon, you know, left becoming president. Because, you know, you get a letter from the president, you're like, oh, I'm going to keep this. It's got Richard Nixon, the president, blah, 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 it's mine, I'm going to keep it. And you're told to destroy it, right? Well, back in Nixon's time, everything wasn't email-like. It was like, you know, documents. So emails, hello, listen to me. Everything is monitored. Everything is monitored. Every single thing is monitored. You're not going to go somewhere and not be documented, monitored. Okay? Despite what people tell you. Okay? So these guys are right into a trap. Now, the way it works is you do an intermittent, inconsistent trauma, and in those you draw attention away from stuff you don't want them to see, like FBI involvement in deep state, CIA involved in things that aren't United States stuff. They're actually not even American. That's why it's called the Central Intelligence. It's not called the American Intelligence Agency. It's called the Central Intelligence Agency. So the Italian spies, the German spies, the Asian spies, the Australian spies, the New Zealand spies, the Polish spies, all got together at the end of World War II and were filtered and ended up with the CIA, the Central Intelligence Agency, that's kind of directed by straight old-fashioned behavior modification. The end justifies the means, money, and dead people tell no tales. So just, you kill them, you're cool. Kill them back away, kill them back away, kill them back away, kill them back away. And whatever you got to do, it's cool. So these are people who are doing these awful things that we perceive as awful that are not sane. They've been raised in a strange fashion and they grew up believing certain things. And your beliefs, when you have a belief get anchored in there, when you're like under 12 or something, it's like it's stuck in there. So then, as the person's like young adult and older adult, those primed for hypnotic digital events can be digitally stimulated to do hypnotic events because they believe it, what they're told to do. See, hypnosis will not do anything to anybody against their free will. You will not do something under hypnosis against your free will. But if you believe in something and it's planted into your brain, your habit pattern, and then you get hypnotized and then given a prompt to do something, a digital prompt on television or whatever. That's how it works. That's how it works, boys and girls. Okay, now, in conclusion, Mr. Kirk, I didn't know him. I've never seen him in person. I've often listened to him debate, and I think debate would be about the correct word. And he did use the word Jesus and things like that, and he did have a balanced approach to stuff. So he wasn't far right. He wouldn't call himself far right. But Wikipedia, here's what Wikipedia says. Charles James Kirk, October 14th, 1993 to September 10th, 2025. Let me just throw this in here. This is the truth, boys and girls. I've been to heaven. The more loving you are, the more difficult your life will be. Okay, think about our Lord. There's an example. Now, for earth pilgrims, organic incarnates onto this planet. You're born and you pass on. Okay? Now you have free will. You've always had free will. You do not have free will. Divine Creator determines when you incarnate and when you transition back. Okay, you don't do that with your own free will. All right? So, there's two rules. The more loving you are, the closer you pass on to your birthday. And the second rule is, the faster you go, you don't suffer. Okay, so Wikipedia, Charles James Kirk, October 14th, 1993. Unalived, September 10th, yesterday, 2025. So you're like almost a month, less than a month from his birthday. Instantly he's gone. Okay. There's many levels to our reality. And those of you who got the injection who haven't had any symptoms yet, you only have the symptoms of intense panic and fear that something's going to happen to you. But they don't count that one either. Okay. So you recognize that the digital stimuli that you turn on your television or your YouTube or whatever, many of them are designed through neuromarketing, using profound neuroscience to shape your behaviors, which you're doing with your muscles and why you're doing it, and your ability to focus. Okay? And so what happens is your eyes are drawn to the screen. You can't stop doing whatever you're doing, scrolling, whatever it is, and it's sending in constant stimuli to your brain that impacts the plasticity of your brain. Like your brain's not like a piece of marble, type the word and that's it. It's just picking up everything all the time, everything all the time, everything. And if you're in trauma, when you pick it up, let's see what it says here. See, that was yesterday, less than 24 hours ago. This is Wikipedia says Charles James Kirk. Now, people reading this today are in trauma. Okay, and this is the information that's going in trauma. The name, those sounds, Charles James Kirk, the date, was an American right wing political activist. So the first thing is right wing. Okay, so you're going to hear his name. You're going to begin feeling the trauma that you felt when you just saw it, and you're going to associate that trauma with right wing. So from the rest of the end of time, they're going to be pumping in. This guy was right wing, right wing, right wing. He wasn't. He wasn't. He was a Trump supporter. I'd say he's more, Jesus wing, if anything. Political activist, author, and media personality. Now, you don't die. Okay, you leave your body. And just about everybody, except those who've had a near death experience, understand that. So for just about everybody, when you die, you're like, I died. Oh, what's going on? Wait, I didn't die. Where am I? Oh, there's my body. What's going on? You don't die. You don't die. What do you know? You don't die. What? Check, there I am. There's my eyeballs, but I can see me here. So once they go through that process of appreciating that, holy shitballs, you don't die. You're an eternal being. You're an energy packet of unconditional love. Okay, that's resonating. It's not resonating in the material third dimensional form. It's resonating now on the fourth, fifth density. Okay. So individual like Charlie Kirk, who honestly I feel resonated with Christ consciousness, he's fifth density now. He's fifth, sixth density. It's really nice. Really, 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 really nice. And he wants people to know and share that there is a God, there is a female aspect of divinity. You really do go to heaven, and the love you make is the love you take. You don't make any love, you don't take any love for a fucking long time till you come back. If you ever do come back. Now, so you can see how the WikiLeaks right away when the people are in trauma promote that he's right wing. Okay. And you'll notice that his unliving was on live recorded television, like, JFK and Bobby and Martin, all the other ones, right? So it's used by the media. Okay. It's used by the media. Okay. How many times have you seen the 9/11 buildings go? The memory that's in your brain, they see that your eye goes in your eyes, it pulls all that trauma crap back up. And what follows, it could be a pet food brand. It doesn't matter what the fuck it is that comes after the trauma, it's going fucking in there. Hello? People aren't that swift. So, what I need to do, what you need to do, and we all can possibly do is visualize the children, his wife, Erica, and him. Sit down in a chair, feet flat, back straight, palms up. Visualize him in a picture with his family and kids in an embryonic bubble of white light for healing. And it doesn't have to go far out, just like a foot or two around everything in the shape of an egg. And it's an embryonic protective bubble of unconditional love of our Lord Jesus the Christ. And then after that, visualize Erica, especially in the kids, his family, his all his loved ones, and us together at the same time who were also trauma suffering. I respected the man. I respect the man in an embryonic bubble, and the bubble has a thick emerald green marble shell protecting the embryonic bubble. So you see an embryonic bubble, a thick marble shell, like an eggshell, but it's made out of marble and it's thick and it's deep emerald green. to heal all the muscles and bones of his kins, all the flesh and blood and the nerves and the differentially permeable membranes in the water and the liquids and the electrical currents in the arms and legs and brains and bodies of all those who love them, that they all resonate with unconditional love. Petition that all muscles, bones, ligaments resonate with unconditional love of our Lord Jesus the Christ. Petition that all molecular structures constructing all of them and yourself resonating with the Christ consciousness of our Lord Jesus Christ, and petition that all atomic structures constructing you, Kirk, Erica, and the kids resonate with the Christ consciousness of our Lord Jesus the Christ. And lastly, petition that you and me and them and all their loved ones, the space between the subatomic particles, resonate with the Christ consciousness of our Lord Jesus the Christ. I petition and ask that in Mother God's name. You and all your loved ones are always in my prayers, Erica. Everyone's praying for you and the kids. Okay.